The saying goes that while history does not repeat itself, it sometimes rhymes. In 1933, the Deutsche Evangelische Kirche was founded in Germany. The Deutsche Christen, as they were known, were prominent then until the end of World War II, 1945. By the way, to forestall some bad feeling, give you a little hope. The next year, 1934, the so-called Confessing Church in Germany was founded, associated with names that you'll know, Pastor Niemöller, Dietrich Bonhoeffer. So there was a counter voice, but and I hope there will always be a counter voice. But I want to talk to you about these Deutsche Christen. They emphasized a number of things that I think have nothing to do with Christianity, but were very important to them. Well, first of all, was the concept of das Volk, and the German word. It's pronounced like our English folk, and it has etymological relationship. But as it was used in Germany, at least at that time, it had connotations which our word folk doesn't usually have. Connotations of race, ethnicity, cultural homogeneity, and unity that our popular usage just doesn't share. That is, one might have, this example illustrates what it means. One might have German citizenship under this concept without being a member of the German folk, without being truly or purely German. Thus, pro-Aryanism and anti-Semitism were two sides of the same coin. One should think of terms like fatherland, blood, race in this context. This notion of folk found expression, for example, in the German Christian public claim that Christians in Germany with Jewish ancestors, for example, may, and I'm quoting one of their documents, remain Christians in a New Testament sense, but they are not German Christians. Consequently, they called for the cleansing of the Bible itself of any and all Jewish components, including the entire Old Testament, and for revising the New Testament to depict Jesus as a model of male heroism in the sense of Nietzsche's Übermensch. They argued that Jesus should appear as a tragic, quote, tragic Nordic figure, and that a German myth should replace the Old Testament. Along these lines, they published a People's Testament, the Folks Testament, as a fifth gospel to announce the myth of the Aryan Jesus. In the 95 Theses they published in 1917 as a manifesto of sorts for the growing acceptance of these ideas, one reads, and I'm quoting, The newer racial research has finally opened our eyes to the pernicious effects of the blood mixture between Germanic and un-German peoples, and urges us, with all our forces, to strive to keep our Volkstum, our folkness, pure and closed. Religion is the inner strength and finest flower in the intellectual life of a people, but it can only strongly affect expression in popular culture. A deep connection between Christianity and Germanness can only be achieved when it is released from this unnatural connection, wherever it stands nakedly approached by the Jewish religion. Along with this concept of folk, they developed the notion of a Reichskirche, an imperial church, a church for the empire or the kingdom. That is to say, they sought a Christianity and a church with German character, suited for the German folk, and supportive of the idea that the pursuit of German aspirations, above all others and by all means, was proper simply because it was German. They also endorsed the so-called Führerprinzip, the principle of a strong leader. It was necessary for German Christians, they argued, to follow a single leader because he had in view the glory of the German folk. He affirmed the superiority of the German folk, and he sought to usher in a German Reich, a kingdom, understood in almost apocalyptic dimensions. In sum, their version of Christianity represented nothing other than the glorification, one dare say the deification, of being German, as they defined it. It is no wonder, then, that they advocated a positive Christianity, which involved de-emphasizing the idea of human sinfulness. Does any of this sound familiar to you?